I've been debating whether I should even make this video. When you hear it, you'll understand why. So, October 2023, I got diagnosed with a grade 3 brain tumor. And I want to talk about my biggest regret if I could go back in time and change something I did. So I'll talk about that. Maybe this helps someone to get their head together who just got their diagnosis. So the standard of care for a new brain tumor is you get a craniotomy and they scrape as much of it out as they can. And then they do an MRI immediately after to see if they could see any more cancer anywhere. So they did that, and they did my MRI, and my MRI was clear with no sign of cancer. And so I went and met my oncology team, and we talked about 33 days of radiation, a small dose every day. And then we talked about chemotherapy, and they said it's more effective if you do them together. So I agreed to that. And I'll be honest, I feel like that was a big mistake because I had a clean MRI with no cancer. I feel like I should have waited 3 months to the next MRI to see if the cancer came back. And if it did, then we'd worry about radiation and such. What I didn't understand then is just how much the treatment would screw me up. So 6 months to a year after you're done your radiation, and I finished mine February 12th, something called brain necrosis can show up, and it's basically damage from the radiation treatment that starts killing your brain cells quite a while after the radiation. So it's not something you're going to notice the side effects of right away. If you get side effects right away, it's probably swelling. They'll probably give you steroids like they gave me. I've been on steroids for a year, which is why I'm so puffy. So I feel like I should have waited for an MRI to come back showing a little bit of cancer growth before I went on the standard of care, because the brain necrosis is really, right now, it's really affecting me. I'm like paralyzed on my left side. My arm and leg don't work. It's made it impossible to get around my house, to go upstairs and such. It's just generally made me miserable and put a big load on my wife, who is my caregiver. So I'm really wishing I hadn't have done the radiation right now, and that I had waited until we saw some regrowth and made the hard decision then, because this brain necrosis thing is really worth reading about before you start radiation therapy. It's sort of eating away at part of my brain, and I said, my last visit, I said to my radiation oncologist, I said, this brain necrosis thing, I said, every MRI, it's getting a little worse, right? And he said, yeah, and my arm and leg on my left side were getting worse too, along with it. And he said, yes, and I said, okay, so what can we do about it? And he said, nothing. It never heals back. There's nothing you can do except symptom control. So I've gone on a drug called Avastin or Bambevi, which is an equivalent drug. It's not a chemotherapy. It's a monoclonal antibody. It might also keep my cancer from regrowing. My MRIs have been clean of cancer for over a year now. So all the damage you see right now has all been done by the treatments. So if you get a tumor and it comes, you get your resection, and the MRI right after the resection is pretty much clear, I would consider waiting to see if you get some regrowth before you subject yourself to the standard of care, because for me, it was absolutely brutal. And I didn't even know till a year and a half till a year later that I was going to get this brain necrosis, because there's no way to know. It hits about 40% of people apparently. And so I said to the doctor, I said, what's the problem? Why is it causing this? He said, just like your tumor, it creates a lot of swelling. The necrosis creates a ton of swelling around it, and that's what's pushing on parts of your brain. And I said, well, can we heal it? And he said, no, once the necrosis eats part of your brain, there's no coming back. And I said, well, to me, it sounds like a tumor by another name. At least a tumor we can treat. Like this brain necrosis, we can't treat. The Bambivi will only slow the damage. So I feel like at this point, whatever time I have left, I'll be spending with my left side screwed up. You know, even if I'm doing physio and occupational therapy. So I'm just always working around my left side. It just doesn't work at all. It's really miserable. So I also feel quite miserable and tired all the time. Because of brain necrosis, when you get brain swelling, you get something called brain fog and cancer fatigue. It's amazing how much those affect you. So anyway, please consider what I say and do a lot of research on the side effects before you agree to these really big medical interventions. I think it's good to be an informed consumer of medicine and to give informed consent. So if you're reading the consent form, like I remember necrosis being on there and I didn't think of anything about it. I didn't think to question it. I thought, oh, necrosis means cell death. I thought it meant the cancer cells. So little did I know it meant my actual brain cells that I still want to use. So consider that, okay, everybody? I hope this video helps you. I hope I don't I'll probably get demonetized. I hope it doesn't get taken down, which could happen given the nature of what I'm telling you here today. So feel free to comment below if you're on a cancer journey and if there's anything you wish you could go back in time and not do that you did. And so other people can learn by reading the comments. Anyway, this is your friend Big Northern Bear out.